Dr. Don Sebastian is Senior Vice President for Research and Development at NJIT, that is New Jersey Institute of Technology. Good to see you, Doctor.
Good to see you again, Steve, and thanks for having me on today.
Well, it is an honor and pleasure. So much going on. The Enterprise Development Center, right?
Correct.
I want to try to make this come alive. There's so much going on at NJIT. I want to talk about the fact that even though there are three themes going on at the Enterprise Development Center, sustainable systems, converging life sciences and engineering, and digital everywhere, that can sound incredibly jargony to people.
Sure.
What I want to do is talk about three companies that embody these three areas.
Perfect.
Right? Break it down. I throw out the company, you make sense of it. How about Wattlots LLC? What is Wattlots LLC?
So it's an interesting company created by a graduate from our School of Architecture who has a concept for a different approach to deploying solar panels. We all think of solar energy as glass panels on the roof. He has a much more flexible concept. If you think of fat Venetian blinds, maybe about a foot wide, that you could put on a stanchion on a canopy, like in an S shape, to go in parking lots, because we have 500 billion square feet of open surface parking in the United States. If we could harness that energy, that's 5 times more than the commercial roof space in the entire world. You could be using that not only as a place of producing electric power for our current needs, for recharging the future of electric vehicles, but he also envisions it as a node for telecommunications, for e-commerce. So you imagine now, not only can you pull into the Bridgewater Mall and plug in your car to recharge while you're shopping, but as you're coming in, your PDA, your iPhone, your Android is an instant communication giving you advice on where the best deal is for the things that you're shopping for.
Well, hold on, because the Enterprise Development Center at NJIT is home to 86 high-tech and life science companies. This is one of those companies, right?
Yes, it is.
Now, this company, Wattlots, is tied to which one of these themes? Is it, I feel like I'm doing a game show. Is it sustainable systems, converging life sciences and engineering, or digital everywhere?
Sustainable systems for 800, yes. Right? So we posture it that way because the whole idea of satisfying our energy need, our heavy demand, as we get more mechanized, as we require more for our lifestyle, and as the rest of the world comes on board, as developing nations want to come in and not reproduce and recreate the industrial evolution.
That's right.
They want to come in at the top of the game as well.
Sustainable.
Yeah, and now on top of that, we have an explosion in population growth. So how are we going to satisfy all of that? Well, clearly, one of the important contributions we think is solar energy.
Give me another company.
Okay, so the big news in most science, the real frontier, is what we call the convergence of life science.
Convergence of life science.
And engineering and physical sciences. So for a long time, the study of biology and of living things has been so complicated and so difficult to penetrate that the physical sciences, the chemistry, physics, mathematics, they were off in their own world, and engineering for a large extent has turned industries to be based on those. Petroleum industry based on chemistry, for example. Right? We have telecommunications based on physics, electricity, and magnetism. But biology is always sort of sought out over here. Now that we're beginning to understand the basis of life, right, from the insides out, from the protein chemistry of DNA, we begin to be able to tackle the problem from the top down and the bottom up, and very importantly, now be able to model things, to be able to understand from basic fundamental principles, not just cause and effect.
And a company comes out of that?
And so in this case, we have a company that's bringing the world of advanced materials. We've grown in this country tremendously. In fact, here in New Jersey, we started, believe it or not, the plastics industry. The very first commercial plastics were created by an inventor named George Bakelin. Bakelite was the substance that was used for electric plugs and insulators and pushed not only consumer electronics but automotive starting in the beginning of the 1900s, produced in Perth Amboy. That company grew and became Union Carbide. Union Carbide is now Dow.
Talk about incubators.
Well, see?
Give me the company now.
So now the company, Endomedics, has found
Endomedics hydrogel technology.
Exactly. They're able to take natural sugars and create a spray-on wound sealant to be used in surgery.
A spray-on wound sealant.
And this will seal off what, you never see on TV when they cut you open, there seems to be no blood, right? Well, but in fact, everything you cut, not only will your skin bleed, but if you do brain surgery now, as you cut through the brain, you've got all of these exposed cuts that have to be healed up, have to be staunch the blood flow before you get down to the business of doing the surgery. 15 minutes of direct pressure or more often. They're able to spray on a substance that's naturally derived, in 15 seconds completely seals off the wound. Well, you can imagine the consequences,
Wow.
right? You have much less time open for infection or other problems to cause. You shorten the length of time on the surgical table. You reduce the time under anesthetic. You increase the efficient use of the surgical theater, so you can get more patients in and out. It just propagates.
And all this happened in NJIT. Students are involved in this, right?
Absolutely. So we have 300 students who are engaged by incubator companies.
300 students.
300 of our students work
engaged in some of these 86 companies.
Yes, and very often they stick. All right, so Endomedics is a good example. Some of their research scientists are our graduates who began doing internships as students and have stuck with the company.
Totally involved. Give me one more company. Is it iSpeech?
iSpeech is a wonderful
Give me
example.
1 minute on iSpeech.
So iSpeech, many people may know from their product called Drive Safely. BlackBerry was giving it away for free for a while. It's something that will read your emails to you with a natural voice. And they've gone from that starting point to a whole set of products that will translate text to speech, but also understand speech. So as our electronic devices get smaller and harder to deal with and harder to peck on the keyboard, not only is it a safety issue, it really becomes very difficult to communicate with a computer using touch typing. So now you can speak to it. And even better, they can now make it speak back in anybody's voice. So in fact, if you send me an email, it could have stored your voice print in there and it will come back to me in your voice. And here's something even cooler.
Go ahead.
They can do it multilingual. So you can imagine your show, while we're sitting here talking, would be instantly translated and it could be seen in China and you would be speaking Chinese but with your voice.
How much do you love your work?
Oh, I love it. I say it's like Forrest Gump, you know, that life is like a box of chocolates. Well, EDC is like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're going to find when you open a door. It's really very exciting.
And EDC is the Enterprise Development Center at NJIT, home to nearly 86 high-tech and life science companies. It is amazing work going on the campus of New Jersey Institute of Technology. Dr. Sebastian, Senior Vice President of Research and Development at NJIT, I want to thank you for joining us. You have just begun a series of conversations we will have with you and your colleagues talking about what is going on at an amazing place. Thank you very much, Don.
Thank you so much.
Appreciate it. Stay tuned, one-on-one. We'll be right back right after this.